What's up, YouTube? My name is Uncle Smokey, and this is Uncle Smokey Stock Trades. And before I start this video, I would like to say, I am not a financial advisor, and this is not financial advice. So please take what I say with a grain of salt, and do your own DD. Oh, jeez. Sorry, I was just looking at my Twitter there, and something funny just happened. Anyhow, today we're going to talk about ticker symbol MMAT, Metamaterials Inc. We're going to break down the TA. We're going to look at the options chain. We're going to go through both Vortex and Fintel. We've got a bunch of Twitter news. George has been all over it today. Fintel's a little mad at me right now. That's what I'm laughing about. Anyway, we're going to look at them anyway, and then... yeah, we're going to get out of here after that, but we've got a lot to cover, so this might get to be a lengthy video. So let's crack into it. Today we opened up the day at $4, we had a high of $4.06, a low of $3.80, and we closed the day out at $3.90, finishing down 5.5% on the day, and that was on about 4.9 million in volume, and that was on half a day, guys. We opened up at 9:30, and then we closed at 1 o'clock, and yes, we did have after hours trading, but the overall market did shut down early. Now, with that being said, the overall market was red as well. Let's go ahead and take a look at that. All right, so here we are at FinViz. I use this as my map so you can see the overall map, and you could tell almost every single sector was completely red. The only thing that we did have up today were your stay-at-home stocks and your Pfizer's, your Moderna's, and a couple of the diagnostic and research companies. And if you're curious about what stay-at-home stocks are, Netflix, Roku, Seagate, DoorDash, Uber Eats, Snap, things like that, those are your stay-at-home stocks. What's the other one? The Peloton. That's another good one, which is another way for you to be able to make some extra money if you're trying to do some swinging or day trading. If you think about things like this happening, if you would have been all over it, which obviously I was, and I don't think anybody was, you would have seen this whole new variant stuff. And that's exactly what drove the market to do this. There's a new variant on the rise. So I guess what happened was R2-D2 and BB8 decided to have a threesome with C3PO, and they created this brand new variant called B1.1.529, and they've decided to name it after a transformer, Omnicron, and yeah, that's what we've got. So everybody is going to be running for the hills again and wearing masks and staying at home, and it's just a major overreaction, guys, in all honesty. We've got the stuff in place to make sure that a massive surge doesn't happen again. Here in the States, at least, we have really ramped up the vaccinations. We've ramped up the testing. They're requiring masks in most of the public places. I just got off a freaking plane, and I tell you what, that is not an easy task. You're sitting there masked in these planes. They're cleaning like crazy. Airplanes' ventilation systems, they circulate the air like 5 times over every 10 minutes. So it's not like you're too worried there. And then even if you are, they've got test screening going through all of these airports. So no worries there as far as I'm concerned. I think we just saw a major overreaction, which is always what happens. Anytime there is a reaction, it's going to be an overreaction. We've said that many times over. Now, with that being said, let's go ahead and move over to the charts, and you can see what I'm talking about there. I know, I said it again. If you guys want to go ahead and chug, you can. I don't care. I'm not gonna. I don't have anything to drink but my water. All right, here we are. We've got the SPY, we've got the NASDAQ, we've got the Dow, and we've got the VIX. Oh, what's the VIX? Well, the VIX is your fear indicator, the volatility index across the market. The CBOE Market Volatility Index. We've talked about the CBOE, Chicago Board of Options Exchange. Well, this is, again, like I said, fear. The market runs off of fear, uncertainty, and doubt. FUD. Runs off of it. No joke. Your emotions will absolutely play into the market's reactions. When the market starts coming down and it starts bringing these stocks down, especially small cap stocks and mid cap stocks, it causes sell-offs. And the volatility index is going to record that and register it as fear. And there you go. That's what the VIX is. And you can see it was way up as everything else was way down. Now, it does look like the indices did make a little bit of a recovery. At least the Dow did. Let's see here. Yeah, not so much on everything else. Meta. That's what we're here for. Meta. All right, so here we are at the 1 minute chart. 1 minute chart shows we opened up right here like we had just said, and then basically got shorted all the way down to $3.80. Now, $3.80 did show up as a great level of support. $4 was more than likely going to be an area where you were going to see a lot of the new money that just stepped in recently when we made that low drop to 365. People bought there. You might have seen some people shake off, maybe some swing traders and stuff like that when they hit that $4 mark, because that's going to be their trigger, their stop loss set, their point of profit. They don't want to go any lower than that because they would have lost profits. So they would have started selling off. Plus, like I said, you're going to have shorts involved as well, and market overreaction. Now, like I said, 380 was the mark. 380 I have called out before is going to be a strong level of support, and it did show up as a strong level of support today, pushing the stock all the way back up to $3.90, giving us a very good reversal on the day, allowing us to finish up not quite as bloody red as it was before. But if you're a long holder like I am, don't worry about that. It's going to come back. This is nothing more than a buying opportunity, a great place to load the boat. And again, as I've said before, if I had more dry powder, I would be loading the boat, but I just don't have it. The market won't let me have it. And it's all my own fault because I put too much money into speculation plays. So always keep that in mind. Learn from my mistakes. Don't overload the boat with speculation plays. Now, with that being said, I know I said it again. Chug it if you want. 2.82% up currently at the close of the aftermarket hours, and that's at an even $4. We're resting on top of $4 right now. It's at 401. 401, my bad. Move over to the 1 hour chart. So the 1 hour chart is showing that we are still above our level, our channel, showing that we have made a higher low. See there? Boom. Low point right there is $3.80. The previous low point was there. Previous low point before that was below that. So we're now making higher lows. Unfortunately, that wasn't a higher high. This is what you would consider a flag. Now, I'm not going to say it's a flag quite yet. I don't think we're there. Again, it takes certain levels of touch points to be able to create trend lines to know what's going on. I'm not there yet. Moving on to the 1 day. So, 1 day showing a very similar story as the 1 hour. Yes, I know. Shot, swig, whatever you want. Right here, we're still showing we are above our channel. The RSI is currently hooking down and is coming close to that oversold territory again. And our MACD is currently hooking down as well. Now, the histogram did shrink. Even today, it shrank a little bit because we were able to recover towards the end of the day. Once we hit 380, we mounted the offensive and we started coming back. Options chain. It's actually extremely bullish today. Even though we were on a super low volume, the buyers took this as a great buying opportunity. I said they would. Anytime you get your implied volatility low, the stock is at a low price, it just came off of an oversold situation, we're going to be having buyers step in for the options. Plus, you're on a new expiration week. You've got a couple of weeks until it's going to expire again, so you're going to have people buying to sell. We did have 6,668 total contracts traded today. 95% were calls at 6,221 calls. The rest were puts, 4,447. Let's hit refresh. Let's make sure we have the most accurate, up-to-date data. Looks like we do. All right, so I was able to put out my morning briefing first thing in the morning. Now, I was not able to get up-to-date information on the live update channel because I was actually able to get that out before I even went to work this morning. Rare, right? Ortex normally doesn't have an update by then. So, utilization sitting at just under 72% utilized. Cost to borrow is 2.55%. And the days to cover is 2.36 days. And that is to cover all of the shares on loan, which is 32.5 million shares, which is currently 23.29% of the free float. And take a look-see. we had an update. And what did I tell you guys? I would expect for this number to increase, and it did. Before today, it was 20.5 million shares short interest reported by the NASDAQ. This is the reported number. 22.2 million currently. That is an 8% change, and we are currently sitting on 15.15% of the free float is short interest. Yeah, they haven't given up. They've only increased the short shares, the short interest. It's going up. That means that, short squeeze is inevitable. It is in the future as long as everything continues to move the way it's going and everything plays out the way it's supposed to play out. But it's not now. We need to get back to that stair-stepping momentum of getting back to a comfortable level, and then hope the divvy steps in to create that extreme buying pressure that's going to come off of FOMO and off of, because we're all going to take our dividends and put it all right back in a meta, and then FOMO will kick in. People will say, oh my God, this thing is skyrocketing. Plus you're going to have shorts having to cover their torch positions. All that good stuff's all going to start to fall into place. It's going to be great. I'm excited. Anyway, back to this. For now. So we got through all of that. This is absolutely fantastic that the numbers are going up for us. It's not good for the shorts, though. Currently, they are sitting at 22.11 days on loan. That means they've been holding their positions on loan for an average of 22.11 days over the course of the last 3 months. Now, today, you will notice that they did return some shares. Again, that does not mean that they were all shorted shares. They could have been borrowed shares as well. Returned 1.68 million shares and only borrowed call it 100,000 just to round down. And that was a return. But, again, not major. This morning when I tweeted this out, I do believe that this current estimated short interest was just sitting right at this, maybe a little lower, because they'd already started returning shares. Again, these are estimated numbers. We don't really know until this updates again. This is going to be pretty close, though, because these are relatively accurate numbers. They're not completely stupid. They will cover at $3.80. They'll start that coverage, and they probably did. They probably started returning some shares, but it's not going to be your long ones because they got a long way to go. They're still making money on this thing. They are not concerned about $3.80. They'll worry about it when it's up towards the $11 mark. All right, we're going to move on to the people who are pissed off at me right now. We're going to get into that here in a minute. Fintel, 78.64 out of 100. We're now 214 out of 5,500 stocks on this list to be in the short squeeze. There's currently 1.4 million shares available to be lent out from a leading prime brokerage. But first thing this morning, there was 2.1 million shares available to be lent out. That means they have borrowed almost a full million shares. And at one point today, it was 1.2 million shares. In fact, it was first thing in the morning. Anyhow. Let's scroll down. Short borrow fee rate's currently at 1.85%, and they're calling it a 3.31 days to cover as of right now. That is all of the shares that they're seeing that are lent out to be borrowed. Check this bad boy out. Oh, let's refresh. All right. So we've already got our FINRA data. We don't have the other stuff as of yet. FINRA is showing 60% short volume. 60%, guys. Now, I will also say that we did not quite get half of the volume from the FINRA today, but that's okay. That's not that big of a deal. It doesn't always happen that way. It's just the vast majority of the time. But 60% was short. That means they were manipulating it to get it down to 380. That's just what they do. They drug it down. They grabbed it by the coattails, and they rode your fear. They rode your absolute emotions and said, we're going to bring this down as hard as we can, and we're going to try and scare out the diamond hands. And they were not able to do that. Nobody was selling. The only people who were selling were paper hands. And I'm telling you now, there are probably not that many of them left. We shook a lot of those guys out. All right, so this stuff will update eventually. It's not there quite yet. It never does update at the same exact time. Here's where they're pissed off at me. All right, so insider trading. This is where it all starts getting interesting. So George put out a tweet the other day, and here's the tweet. Business as usual. In my opinion, we are in full compliance with SEC regulations. Now that management is off the blackout period, I will be adding to my personal position, MMAT Go Beyond Q3 Updates report. All right, so, and that was on the 16th, and he absolutely did. In fact, he did that on the 19th, according to what we see on the Insider Trading Report. And this is exactly what Fintel's pissed off at me about, by the way. So on the Intel, or on the Fintel report here, it shows this Form 4 of George Palikaris, showing that he had to sell, you can see right down here, sell, and then exercise. And let's cover that right now. Right here's the form. So he did have to sell about 500,000 shares for a total of $2.1 million. And that was to cover the tax man, to cover the fees for doing all of this stuff, ultimately to cover all of that stuff. And you can tell that he had to sell that because there's this little number 1 right here on the transaction code. So S is for sale, and the number 1 is right down here. Shares sold to satisfy option exercise expenses and the tax withholding requirements upon exercise of the options. It says it right there in green and white because that's the color green. Yeah, I'm colorblind. I have to double check and make sure. Anyway, so it does say it right there. What Fintel is pissed off about, I think it is this one, is he posted today, George did, today my Form 4 was submitted. By the way, my CTO's too, so we can also go and look at the Chief Technical Officers, which I haven't gotten to yet. We exercised our options, and I bought over 1.6 million shares. I had to sell the minimum amount of shares to pay the taxman, i.e. the government of Canada. Almost all my net worth is tied up in MMAT. At Fintel and others, please report fully. Fully, okay? They did not report that fully. I even made a point of that. I don't mind ruffling some feathers. MMAT at Palikaris had to sell shares to cover the exercise options. At Palikaris increased his personal position by 1.1 million shares. At Fintel is apparently not accurate with their info lately. Alright. Fintel, of course, responded, see? Come on, dude. Anyway, I subscribe to you. I watch your YouTube stuff. I am totally trying to utilize your website, and I'm just giving you information that you might want to correct. For instance, your entire page where it says insider shares, that is completely wrong. Anyway, what they're stressing is that George probably should have put the letter F in instead of the letter S in. The letter S is sale. Sale of securities on an exchange or to another person. So, that does not specify anything. It's just sale. It's general. It's vague. If he would have put F, payment, exercise, price, or tax liability using a portion of securities. Now, he was also doing it for Canadian taxes, not so much American taxes. So that might have been the reason why he had to do the S letter, because it's not, going to be filed towards Canada. I don't know. Who am I? I don't know. I'm not the IRS. I'm not whoever does that stuff. Okay? All I know is they should have looked deeper into it and seen that right on the filing there was a basic asterisk stating that he did it for the tax man. Okay? So yeah, they're a little ticked off at me, I think. Maybe not. Who knows? They might respond. I don't know. Maybe they're watching my videos. I doubt it. Okay, what else do I want to talk about on that? Oh, yeah. So, anywho, he did increase his position, but first he had to buy 500,000. So, he increased his position 1.1 million shares. Actually, just over. And like they did say, the CTO did file his as well. Let's see if we can find that real quick. It's not here, but maybe it'll update later or tomorrow. In fact, let's hit refresh. Nope, not there yet, but perhaps by the end of the weekend. All right. Well, we're going to go ahead and move on with this. I think I covered everything I wanted to cover on that part. The next thing I want to talk about is this. So on Wednesday, Nadnarb H posted a tweet. It'd be pretty sweet if at Palikaris gave us something to talk about with our friends and family as we gather around the Thanksgiving dinner table. He did respond back. Best Thanksgiving movie for kids, Free Willy or Big Trouble in Little China. Somehow Free Willy won. I mean, I guess it is the best Thanksgiving movie for kids if you want to talk about kids' movies. Neither one of them qualify as a Thanksgiving movie at all. But I chose Big Trouble in Little China, and here's why. And if you watch my live, you'll understand why I'm going through this now. it took me some time to find it. But at Palacaris was hinting for something to talk about. Go back a few days. Go to at Palacaris' page. Go to George's page and go through his tweets and replies. Find Rico. At Rico 45097410 posted this awesome article converting Wi-Fi signals to electricity with new 2D materials. And it's a very long scientific read that I have started, and I don't fully understand it yet because we've talked about this before. I'm a smooth-brained ape with maybe one or two wrinkles, and I don't know the science of it all. But I'm reading it nonetheless. And the reason why I think this is the reason George put this, we'll get back to it, this tweet up is, look at his reply. Big times, big trouble in Little China. Also, I did post a little bit, let's go ahead and open this in a new tab. I did post later that day because I had to see it. It's been so long, it's been years since I had seen that movie that I was watching it. And where's it at? Right down here. There it is. Right here. Enjoying American classic from 1986 starring at Real Kurt Russell as Jack Burton and at Kim Cattrall as Gracie Law. She's Canadian. This movie has it all. Action, comedy, sci-fi, and believe it or not, a certain level of truth. Thanks at Palacaris for reminding on how good this movie is. And he did like it, and probably because I figured it out before I figured it out. But it is still a great movie. He might have just been liking it because I thanked him for reminding me how good it really is. Anywho, I did watch the movie, and believe it or not, there's a lot of green lasers in this movie, a lot of green special effects, and there's this little blob goblin thing that is Lao Pan's basically his eyes, and that was done with using green lasers and basically augmented reality or virtual reality, early technology, and just shining lights and stuff to a central location, causing a hologram or holograph. That's kind of how I gathered. I watched a little tiny clip on how that was made. Director's cut. Anywho, beyond this, let's move past it. I've got one other major thing I want to talk about, but before we talk about that, make sure you guys go over and read this article. This is a very, very in-depth article, maybe explaining some of the stuff that you would like to know about how some of our stuff works. All right, so let's move on. Here's the very last thing I'm going to talk about today. So, Wayray. There's been a lot of speculation going on in the market lately about Meta and Wayray having a connection. And I'm going to tell you, I'm not going to put a whole lot of stock into this, guys. I'm not going to be banking on this in any way, shape, or form. Reason being, it is not likely for a company to talk about something like this and it be okay for them to talk about it and not our company to talk about it. We wouldn't be dropping just little tiny cryptic messages here and there that have absolutely nothing to do with this company. Where Wayray is talking about many different car companies, and yes, I know they have a partnership with Covestro, and they had talked about using the Bayfull HX, but the one thing you've got to keep in mind is Covestro has a few different levels of the Bayfull, and it doesn't necessarily mean that they're using ours being the HX 120 that we developed with Covestro. And also, there was a video that was put out today by Metamaterials talking to Covestro, and the one thing that I could pull from that video, and I'm going to is that basically they're saying it was for a not a heads-up display, but a more wearable unit. And what Wayray is doing is not that; it's more of a HUD display right here. So again, I'm not thinking that Wayray has anything to do with the Meta aspect of it. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm crossing my fingers that I'm absolutely wrong, and I hope that this could be the catalyst to take us to the very next level. But I've not seen in too many past instances where one company talking about using another company's stuff that just so happens to have another company's tech involved in it actually panning out. The one thing we got to keep in mind is Metamaterials is a B2B company, which means they would rather probably have Wayray come to them with something to do with our augmented lenses or something like that, or our film once it's been molded from the Covestro Bayfull HX, once it's been molded and manipulated to what Meta does with it, and then they would reach out to Meta. Wayray would reach out to Meta. I don't think necessarily that it would go as Covestro being the middleman. I don't foresee that. Again, I'm not putting a whole lot of stock and hope into this, and I'm going to just put out a cautious warning that if this news drops and nothing happens to our stock, it's okay, because that just means that they had nothing to do with us. Now, if it drops and our stock drops, if their news drops and it's all good for them and our stock drops, it's because there was a lot of people banking on this, and they shouldn't have been. There's been too much speculation around this, thinking that we are directly connected. Now, again, I'm going to stress, I don't want to say that we aren't, because I don't know. But I just am trying to get people to understand that you can't put a whole lot of faith in this kind of news, because they've just been trolling it. Metaverse on wheels is what we're going on. Metaverse on wheels. Facebook is saying that they're the metaverse now. We created the Meta name. That's what we've done. The metaverse is us. We are the metaverse. You look at all the hashtag metaverses. It didn't come from Wayray. It didn't come from Facebook Meta. It came from Meta. Meta Materials. MMAT, baby. We are the first and real Meta. And that's what I got for you guys today. I hope this helped clarify a few of the things that went on today. And if it did, make sure you like my video and subscribe. If there's anything that I said that you don't agree with or didn't like, let me know in the comments below. If there's anything that I said that you did like, let me know in the comments below. Share this video out with everybody that you possibly can. With that being said, that's all I got for you tonight. Peace.